All right. Good to be back. Awesome to be back on the mic. I fucking do this every time. I just I get on and then I say how great it is to be back and then I hop off for a while, but life's been pretty crazy getting settled out here in the old great land of Colorado. Just got a new job, so you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Fuck it. Gotta pay bills somehow. Soon to be on my own, you know what I'm saying? But got a job, got settled, just kind of life getting thrown at me, just taking it as I can, you know what I'm saying? But I want to continue this book series, I really do. I think it's something that I can do on my own to kind of get that creative side out of me that I know is there. Something that like classic 9 to 5 won't allow for you to do. Ultimately, I've been a performer all my life. Sports, school, whatever it may be. I'm obsessed with getting good at it. And I'm obsessed with performing and standing out. But that might be condescending, or maybe not condescending, but selfish. Whatever it is, egotistical. Not really, though. Just an inward reflection that I have. I mean, it's just something that gets developed in you from the time you're a baby. So what have I been doing since I was a kid? Playing sports, performing, getting creative with how to perform, practice, and then show up on game day. That's what I'm good at. That's what I want to do with the rest of my life. So got to find a way to pull that into a different parallel other than sports, because I can't be doing this 9 to 5 bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But no, I got a really cool one today. Super excited about it. I was thinking, okay, I need to get another podcast in. I've got goals that I want to hit every month for this podcast and stuff. I've added the video. I've got one done. I just need to be consistent now. Really, that's all that's left to do. So, not a bad spot to be in for myself. But this book, in particular, it plays a special role. For some reason, it just stuck with me. It's stuck with me. It's been stuck in my heart. Anytime I'm thinking about books or creativeness, for some reason, this book pops into my head. I don't know if it's the experience that created it, or if it's the actual book that is what made me feel the way I feel about it. But needless to say, let's get on with it. You know what I'm saying? My bill keeps hitting this damn bar here. But without further ado, this book is called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, a novel by Mark Haddon. Here it is. Interesting cover. Got the dog upside down, dark. Maybe that's the nighttime play. I don't know. Open it up, get a little bit of the night sky, what have you. I think what I want to hit on first is just the fact that for me personally, I get too caught up in life and forget that there's so much more detail and depth to every single thing around this world that you look at, that you just like forget to think about or roll over. So for instance, this apartment building that I'm in, like, yeah, there's a wall right there behind me. It's just a wall, but there's so much detail and like planning that went into it, and that's what makes it the wall that it is. So kind of pull that into this book, like the design. Someone worked hard to design this book. Someone probably went through multiple templates of how this book was going to be designed. And it's slick, it's sleek, it's got a nice feel to it. Nice classic paperback type concept, really cool stuff. But basically, to give you a gist of this book, it's been a while. So when I transferred to the University of Iowa, I transferred, gave up sports, going through some stuff, really kind of was in a space of, well, what's next? And I have that positivity gene in me. Very blessed growing up, so situations never looked like hopeless. Always looked like, well, what's next? Where does the next opportunity come? Not gonna lie, it's given me a sense of entitlement and I'm getting hit hard with that right now as an adult. A new state, on my own. Nothing's given. It's you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. And if you want more than the most, you gotta go more than most. That's simple. But back to Iowa City. So this book, I was lost, to say the least. I was very lost. Didn't know what direction I was going to go into. Fell into a decent major, what have you. Doing some homework at the public library in Iowa City, one of my favorite spots to chill at and just get lost in whatever I was doing, school, personal stuff, research, whatever. And I think I had just finished like one of my first books that I read personally since like freshman year, maybe even middle school. Like literally before I started reading books, my lineup of books that I read that I could talk about was S.E. Hinton books. So The Outsiders, that was Then, This Is Now. I think there's one other that was in there that I really fucked with from her. But needless to say, I didn't read a lot. I read a book, Slight Edge. I don't own that book. It was recommended to me by a dear friend. I rented it, I read it, and it changed my life forever. That's for another day, but I think I had just finished that book, or I was just kind of getting into the concept, okay, I'm just going to read. I'm going to force myself to read. I'm going to make it a discipline, a habit. Every day I'm going to read a book because I'm going to just enhance my mind. I'm going to blow my shit up. So ironically enough, the Iowa City Public Library does this thing where I don't know how often they do it or what the tactic is, but this book was literally sitting on a windowsill with a note that said like, enjoy, like please take, like for free or whatever. And I was like, well, I might as well just grab it. Can't pass up an opportunity for a free book to keep a book. And like kind of getting in the mindset of I'd love to get a book collection going. And so I take this book home with me, and boy was it wild. Not wild and life-changing or just any other sense than just like creativeness. Like it really, really brought me back to like what it's like to sit down and read something and then have those words as they go through your mind create a painted vision of what the author's telling you. And like it that's a big reason as to why this book is special to me and why I wanted to do this one for my second episode, was because I like forgot what it was to be creative. You know, I mean, growing up in an environment where if you obey, you're respected. If you obey, you are doing what's right. It's just how school works. It's how sports kind of work. Like, you don't ask questions, you just do. Luckily for me, 90% of the time, that kind of mindset led me in the right direction. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older where it's like, okay, well, I need to start questioning things because, otherwise I'm just going to get pushed around in life. I'm just going to get told where to go, what to do, who to be. And I didn't want to do that. So for this book to enter into my life in such a universal fashion, if you will, classic, just right place, right time, right moment, right mindset type shit. Like, it's beautiful. I think it truly is beautiful. And what the book is about is basically, sorry, my headphone shit is just pissing me off. What this book is about is, in a short gist, a young autistic kid who lives in, I believe it's like London or Paris, one of those European cities. So it paints a beautiful picture of what it's like to live there, the neighborhood that the kid lives in, the kind of school he goes to, and then it goes into his home life and all this type of stuff. So basically, this book is about that kid who's autistic, who finds the neighbor's dog murdered with a pitchfork in it. And this happens like right away in the book. Like, this is this precedent of the book. This kid walks out one day, finds this, and is like, what's going on? And then it goes into great detail about like just the kid and his autistic tendencies. Kind of an example that I remember is if he saw a certain amount of colored cars, it was an indicator of how his day was going. So first off, think about how hyper aware you'd have to be every day to like be looking around and like counting colored cars. Like, mind boggling. Like, I don't think about anything while I'm driving. It's almost like it's a autopilot type mode. But this kid, and one of them is like yellow. So a yellow car, certain amount of yellows, gets him to a bad day, and he doesn't go to school because it's going to be a bad day. And if he does go to school, it's going to be an even worse day. And just little things like that, even up to his like food, tons and tons of stuff that he's like hyper focused on, and like really makes him determine how the day is going to go based on certain things. So really outlandish concept if you've never been around someone who has autistic tendencies or is autistic. But what you're reminded is how smart this kid is. This kid is intelligent, and he sees the world in such a unique, creative manner, and it just doesn't align with modern society. So it's a real struggle. And needless to say, the story goes on. He investigates. He basically just tries to investigate what happened with the dog, and in that he gets into a lot of more information about his family life, the neighbor's life, how they kind of intertwine in a negative stance. Like, I'm definitely not going to give away any more than what I've given, just because it is such a creative story. Excuse me. Such a creative story that I don't want to put any pre-visuals in anyone's head or anything like that, but it's a special book for me, and how it translates to my life is anytime that I think like, what now, what's next, for some reason this book seems to pop up in my head, and pop up in my head in a sense of like creativity. Like, life is this big fucking science project full of just laws of nature and like philosophical truths, and maybe more, I guess laws of nature are more, in my mind, more like truths, like universal truths, if anything. But it just, this world is made up of so much, and so much is out there, that it's so easy to get drowned by your daily life and think like, what's next? Is this all there is? But what should be easier is to think like, this is one situation that I'm in currently with these variables at play right now. And all you do is tweak one variable or step out of a certain situation, and a whole new world is opened up for you. And that's kind of what books do for me. That's what this book did for me. Showed me that you can put words on paper. There's nothing here. There's no pictures. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff, but like, you can see the unorthodox way of kind of how the author wrote it. And I think this blockage here, let's see if I can find it. This, like, the blockage stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. And the chapters go by a certain number count because of the kid's autistic tendency. You can't really see here, it's a shitty camera, but this says 151. So this is chapter 151, and then the next one turns into, let's see if I can get one up, not wasting too much time. 179 is the next one. So like, he has a weird mathematical like system that the kid follows, and he's really intelligent, and then he can do the math quickly, stuff like that. So but I forgot what I was kind of hitting on, but like this book, like, you can take these words and they just paint this vivid picture, this story that you feel like you're living, you're in it, you are with the kid. Like, it's just mind blowing. And it just kind of just goes to show you that the world around you is what you immerse yourself in. And that's kind of maybe why this book is so special to me, is because I got lost in the world of this book. this book created another world for me, and I was in it. I was living in London, or wherever the story takes place. The small streets, the packed cars on the small streets, tight neighborhoods, not much yard to go around. Just kind of something you see in the movie, but painted through words. And you're able to just envision it and create that, and super special. And then on top of it, for the way that this book entered my life, I mean, priceless, as they'd say on the Visa ad. But yeah, I wanted to share this one with you folks. This is a special one. I read a lot of, I believe, nonfiction. So to read a fiction book and just kind of get lost in a story was super, super sweet. And I mean, I read this book 2 years ago, and it's still pretty fresh in my head. Like, the storyline, the pictures, the character, the kid, the descriptions of the dog with the pitchfork, stuff like that. Like, it was a lasting book. And I mean, it is a national bestseller. I don't know what that means in the book world anymore. It seems like a lot of books are national bestsellers. So kind of like food, like music, really like anything nowadays. It's all subjective. So that's all I got, though. This book was special. Check it out if you're interested. If you want a quick light read, just to get into reading, maybe explore how you feel about it, definitely a good book. And that's The Curious Incidents of the Dog in the Nighttime, a novel by Mark Haddon. Mark, beautiful book, my man. Beautiful fucking book. Should check out, see if you have more. Well, folks, that's all.